This is one of those things that you honestly would not believe me if I told you, even if I was the most trusted friend you ever had. It's one of those things you have to actually hear.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone. But it happened to the two of us.
Do you regret
that thing? I regret that private matter became the focal point of this very important prosecution. This is a very important case. I hate that my personal life has begun to overshadow the true issues in the case.
The relationship created a whirlwind of distraction from the indictment of former President Trump and 18 others for alleged election interference, some of whom have taken plea deals while others, including Trump, have pleaded not guilty. Attorneys for some of those defendants argue that Wade and Willis's actions disqualified them from trying the case, filing a motion against the prosecutors and revealing the romance to the public.
A Washington Post columnist wrote, "What were they thinking? How could two seasoned attorneys embroiled in the prosecution of a former president start a romance and not see this trouble coming a mile away?" And so what were you thinking in that moment?
Again, you don't plan to develop feelings. You don't plan to fall in love. You don't plan to have some relationship in the workplace. That you don't set out to do that, and those things develop organically. They develop over time. And the minute we had that sobering moment, we discontinued.
Man, this mofo ain't answer one question. Like, at all. I'm just, I regretted the private matter. Look, bro, you was clapping the Fani, okay? You got caught, bro. And then the worst part of it all, the worst part of it all, workplace romances are as American as apple pie. What? Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm oblivious to the possibilities of that happening, or I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not aware of that happening even until this day. Some people, you can't control how love is, created in some scenarios. But in their case, it's just the timelines are suspicious, and the questioning then becomes, why did she choose you of all people? As it relates to all of that campaign fund money being spent. That's when it becomes BS. Not to mention, even though you may feel like that, Nathan Wade, you don't remember your boo saying this?
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees. Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children. Because we deserve better.
She was projecting this whole time? What? Huh? Propaganda and projection? Caught on video in 4K? I mean, the quality ain't 4K, but y'all know what the term mean. And yeah, we have so many people looking at this and saying, oh, this is irrelevant. Why are we even talking about this? How does this relate to the Trump case, man? As Chaotic Good pointed out, excuse me, sometimes workplace romances can cause a tremendous conflict of interest in a number of different ways. That's why it's typically mentioned in every single employee handbook. You know what? That's actually true. I remember when I was going to El Pollo Loco and decided to, anyhow, some workplace relationships can be completely inappropriate as a result. They are adults. They knew their relationship could compromise an important prosecution, and they made the choice to continue. He's sorry they got caught. Yes, which brings me to the next point. They're not sorry in any way, shape, or form. They genuinely are trying to convince the people that they didn't realize that this would become a conflict of interest and yada yada. But come on, man. Y'all smart enough to know that if y'all already doing the Fani together, if you packing Fani prior to her bringing to you onto this case, in addition to that, there's still a paper trail despite the lack of debit payments or credit payments. There's still a paper trail. Like, yeah, man, like there's a lot of conflict of interest with that whole mix up. And to the people who saying, oh, this ain't relevant, if it was Trump, it would be a totally different story, wouldn't it?
But at some point, once that bond is there, and if democracy is on the line, as has been described, do you say, maybe we pause this until after the case is over?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll concede that could have been an approach, but there again, when you are in the middle of it, these feelings are developing, and you get to a point to where the feelings are so strong that you start to want to do things that really are none of the public's concern.
Tim want to do things like what? Take taxpayer dollars to go and, go on vacation and pack some Fani up? Bro, what? America, do y'all see what's happening right in front of your freaking face right now? This man is literally saying, oh, everyone has office affairs. It's American. That's the American thing to do. Not, okay? We're not going to sit here and try to accept that. Then on top of that, he's sitting there and upset because this whole ordeal between him and Fani Willis overshadowed the case. Bro, what? It made the case, it for me, my fault to give y'all that long stutter. For me, it makes perfect sense. It proves that the witch hunt is coordinated, in my opinion. I mean, from where I'm sitting, she over there thinking, why not? I get to do some things to you, a little bit of strange thing, you know what I'm saying? Literally for a little piece of change, I'll pay you some extra bread. We're going vacay, I'll pay you without giving you actual debit or credit. So, this will work. Also, your revenue will be increased substantially. We'll give you over $500,000 and for the same job that we have two other people for, the same field. None of this screams suspicious to you. And then they don't even watch how the funds are being regulated over to Fani Willis. She's giving them millions of dollars. Don't even care what she's doing with it.
Let's talk about Nathan Wade, because it's been a while since we found out about the guy that was asked to recuse himself, or Fani Willis was going to recuse herself of the case on this state case, this Fulton County case.
He was the ex-Fulton County prosecutor. He had his first sit-down interview since all of that unfolded. Watch this.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone. But it happened to the two of us. You don't plan to develop feelings. You don't plan to fall in love. You don't plan to have some relationship in the workplace. That you don't set out to do that. And those things develop organically. They develop over time. And the minute we had that sobering moment, we discontinued it.
Do you think that you've done any kind of damage to this case?
None at all.
Even the public perception of it?
There again, this takes me back to the initial statement that I made. My private life became the focal point of the case. And my private life has nothing to do with the merits of that prosecution.
But his poor judgment has everything to do with how poorly the prosecution is going. And it makes you wonder on the fundamentals of the case. Is this about fame? Is this about getting under the national spotlight? His salary was too large. His expenses were too large. She's been examined. Now they're running against her in her own party. They're looking at her expense budget. I think she got an extra $1 million on miscellaneous.
And you made a good point a minute ago asking Kerry about whether or not all this goes away if Trump wins the election. I wonder, even if he doesn't win the election, if all this stuff doesn't wind up going away, because it's so obviously politically motivated.
Okay. Infidelity is now workplace romance.